Augustana College supports the cure for cancer, the USF Music Department performs, and we take a look into the life of a college athlete. All this and more coming up next on College Week.
From the Jeske Fine Arts Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls, this is College Week. With Ronald Hawkins, Lexi Voglar, and sports with Brett Gies.
Good morning, I'm Ronald Hawkins.
And I'm Lexi Voglar. Thanks for joining us.
Sioux Falls now has its new mayor, with Mike Huther winning the race with 57% of the vote and Kermit Staggers falling behind with 43%. Huther is a former bank executive who said he promises to keep the city financially responsible while still developing the economy with projects such as a new events center. Staggers, who served 2 terms as a city council member and 8 years in the state legislature, called to congratulate Huther after the results were released and said he would be happy to offer advice. Huther will take office on May 17th.
With the warmer weather, the annual Sioux Falls Kingswood Rummage Sale has finally kicked off. Today will be the last day to participate in the citywide garage sales. Last year, nearly 300 sales participated in the event. The sales are located between Interstate 29, Sertoma Avenue, and 41st Street. Visit www.kingswoodrummagesale.com for a list of all individual sales and dates.
Cancer awareness was the theme at Augustana College's last Saturday. With more on the story, here's Lexi Voglar.
Students, faculty, and the public laced up their tennis shoes last Saturday to take part in the Relay for Life held at Augustana College. 130 people were signed up to take part in the games, concert, and walk put on by Colleges Against Cancer Augustana chapter. Its president, Olivia Matthews, tells us the goal of such organizations is to raise cancer awareness across campuses.
It is done through the American Cancer Society, and it's done on colleges all over the nation. And it's where groups of students come to make a committee, and we do stuff for advocacy, prevention, cancer awareness. We bring speakers around campus. We've done other fundraisers for breast cancer. We've done dodgeball tournaments for testicular cancer, and it's just a way to make the student body aware that we're all fighting cancer.
Augustana professor, advisor for Colleges Against Cancer, and cancer survivor himself, David O'Hara, was the featured speaker for the event. He says it's important to get involved while young.
Well, events like this are important to students for a couple reasons. They're important to students because this allows students to get involved in raising funds to do research of the sort that, well, frankly, saved my life. It also allows students to develop the habit of doing this sort of thing while you're in college. I mean, the decisions you make while you're in college, they become the way that you spend your time and the commitments that you have after you're in college as well. So I think it's very important for students to be involved in good things like this while they're still young.
Over $10,000 was raised by participants who got to enjoy music from Damon Dotson later that night and a luminaria walk in honor of those with cancer.
Uncle Kevin R.
For College Week, I'm Lexi Voglar.
To contact Colleges Against Cancer or to make a donation, email cac@augie.edu.
USF students have the opportunity to show off their music skills every week. College Week's Beth Salisbury reports.
Every Monday at 4, music from the University of Sioux Falls Music Departmentals is flowing out of Z Hall. Nancy Wilcoxon explains what departmentals are.
Departmentals are a way for students who are taking any kind of applied lesson to have experience in performing. It's for their purpose and for ours that we get to observe and learn from them.
Even though departmentals are required for music major and minors, some still find them enjoyable. Freshman Ethan Aldal says what his favorite part of departmentals are.
My favorite thing about departmentals is seeing all the music students that come in to perform and see how they improve from each semester, and walking by the music studios and listening in on their lessons sometimes, and then hearing them perform. It's really encouraging to see how students are working and improving their musical abilities.
Departmentals are open to the public. Nancy Wilcoxon explains why.
It gives us a chance to see how people are doing, and it gives them experience to be in front of an audience, and it's fun to watch them grow.
Departmentals are Mondays at 4 o'clock in Z Hall. For College Week,
I am the very model of a modern major general.
I'm Beth Salisbury.
Coming up after the break, we'll take a look into one USF senior's final project. Don't go away.
Just because the curtain has closed on USF's production of Cinderella does not mean that all is quiet in the theater department. We turn to College Week's Stephanie Chmielewski for more on the story.
Even with the school year winding down, there are still a few shows left to catch for fans of USF theater. One of those shows is James Meyer's senior project entitled Plans, which played this last week in the Jones Theater on the USF campus.
A doctor out there with a whack haircut.
The 25-minute one-man show is made up of 6 different monologues from various playwrights, compiled and performed by Myers with his own twist. Myers says he got the idea for the show from everyday life.
I just kind of was like, what do I plan to do with my life? And I didn't really have the answer, and I was like, gosh, planning is something we all have to do. We do it in life every day. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to plan my show on plans.
Haley Ward, who also put on a one-woman show earlier this month, gives us her impression.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting perspective on a look at a senior show and how to take the next step. My favorite part was the Batman monologue and the lightsaber part, when he was just running around with the lightsabers and was like, hanging out and playing with the lightsabers. I was like, that right there is Jimmy all the way. Just goofy and fun.
Myers says the show was fun to put on, but was also a lot of hard work.
Trying to pick my pieces and find out who I'm going to have run my lights and my sound and my drumming. But I mean, I had the time to do it. It just took me a while to find the ones I wanted. That was the hardest part, is finding what I wanted to do, the pieces I needed, and how to put it all together and make it cohesive into one show.
For USF College Week, I'm Stephanie Chmielewski.
Your last chance to catch a USF theater production will be the 12th through the 14th as USF hosts one act in the Jones Theater.
Not only can college be tough with papers to write and tests to study for, but being an athlete can also be stressful. Joshua Duncan takes a look at how some students survive it all.
These guys may have the hardest job of all college students, so how do they balance their athletics and schoolwork?
As a student athlete, keeping sport participation takes up a lot of time and energy away from school. Sometimes it's hard for students to balance between these two and resulting in dropping of grades and performance. The way I manage this problem is to try to manage well on my schedule.
But along with maintaining a schedule, some professors and coaches also keep their student athletes on the ball.
One of the big things that our athletic teams do is that they have grade reports are mandatory, either weekly or bi-weekly, where an athlete needs to communicate with their professors, and that professor will, hopefully, it's not required of professors, we hope that they participate in this, would fill out the grade report and say this is where their grade is at this point in time. And then as coaches, and I can only speak for the track and field squad, but I know other teams are doing this also, then they sit down with the coach, and if there's any major discrepancies or major concerns that are presented on that weekly or bi-weekly report, then the coaches step in and say, hey, what can we do here? Is this because you're not getting to class, or is this because the content is more difficult or harder to understand than what you have presumed it would be? And so that's the point. So there's some really in-depth checking that goes on from the coaching perspective.
And if grades do become a problem, there are consequences.
Also, as a student athlete, you can only compete if you have a certain grade point average. And so competition, you'd be considered ineligible if your grade point average is below a certain point, and based on the time of year. And so that's another means of helping our student athletes stay within a good grade point average and making sure that they're in class.
And while it gets busy, both jobs have to be completed.
Well, during the season it does get pretty busy, but that practices early enough and gets done early enough as well that I have most of my nights and Sundays to work on my homework and catch up with studies and just get anything done that I need to get done.
You just gotta put time aside at the end of the nights, and you gotta just get it done, And you're gonna miss class, and you gotta make sure you email those teachers, and you make sure that everything is coordinated, and that they're on the same page as you, and that you're on the same page as them. And you gotta just pound out that homework. You gotta get it done, and you gotta put hours in on Saturday, and you gotta put hours out on Sunday, the Sabbath, and you just gotta do it. I mean, that's basically what it is. When people aren't getting their stuff done, it's because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. If they just focus and get it done, they'll be fine.
For the most part, even though it's tough, the Cougars are getting the job done.
Over the past 3 to 4 years, our grade point averages for student athletes have increased on average, probably by 2 to 3 points in regards to having, I think our football team is required, and the goal was a 2.75 for everyone on the team. Now they could still compete if they didn't have that based on NAIA regulations, but our coaches were very adamant about that. And our track and field team is also, we're seeing an increased grade point averages of the students that are coming in. One thing that's going to continue to prompt that is that when we transition to Division II, the scholarship opportunities for students with better grades are much greater at that level. And so that's also going to continue to prompt our student athletes to receive and pursue better grades as they come in, and then stay with those and try to work on those grades, keeping them up during the school year once they're here and in competition.
So while they're doing incredible stuff like this, remember, they also have the same homework assigned as you do. For College Week, I'm Joshua Duncan.
After the snow melted this spring, one hangout location was left inaccessible for college students. With more on the story, here's Lindsay Tullis.
Over the years, frisbee golf has become one of the major activities with college-aged people. In Sioux Falls alone, there are 3 locations for people to play. Over the past 2 years, the Big Sioux Recreation Area in Brandon has been looking to expand their 9-hole course into a full 18-hole course. But Jason Bauman, the Big Sioux manager, says this year has been causing more problems than any year before. But he is optimistic that he will have the course open by the middle of May.
Well, the last 2 years, we haven't had any flooding, so it was up and running early. I mean, as soon as the snow melted, it was playable. Unfortunately, this year we did have some flooding, which is not unusual for this area. So this year it's a little bit later, and we've been getting some rain. So hopefully by the end of the week we'll have half the course open, and hopefully here next couple weeks have the whole thing. So I guess my goal is open house weekend, usually middle of May is the plan to get everything up and running.
Joshua Dockler, who heard about the Big Sioux Recreation course last year, says that despite the setback, he is anxious to get out and play.
I have actually heard about it last year towards fall before the snow. I never got a chance to go out with my work and school schedule. I was going to go out there today, but I called in advance just to see if they had gotten their pins back up, and turns out that they haven't, so I wasn't able to today, unfortunately.
Now with the river back to its normal level and the course being closer every day to being open, Troy Klungerbo says he is excited for the course to be open again.
You know what, yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I've been waiting a long time for it to open up, and we've had such nice weather here that I've just been ready to get out there and start chucking my disc around, so I'm really excited, yeah.
For USF College Week, I'm Lindsay Tullis.
Coming up after the break, Joshua Duncan sits down with Kristen Fick on Crosstalk. We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Crosstalk. I'm Joshua Duncan, and my guest this morning is Kristen Fick. She is Safe Campus Advocate for USF. Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
I'm fine, Josh. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
So what is your job role here at USF?
Well, as a Safe Campus Advocate here at the University of Sioux Falls, I work for the Office of Campus Safety and Security, doing primarily education and prevention efforts for students and staff as well. With that, I try to do education for students in a variety of different methods through awareness events and also in the classroom. And then I also do personal risk reduction measures, just kind of educating them on those. And then as well as reactive measures should the need arise that victims come forward on campus, I will work with them, getting them the services that they need to get back on their feet. So,
what is some of your educational background that helped prepare you for this job?
To get prepared for this job, I had an undergraduate degree in psychology and communications, and then I went on to graduate school to get my master's in educational psychology and counseling. So,
I know we just, you said you spearhead some events here on campus. We just came out of Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April. What were some of the events on campus that we had to help students become aware of this month?
All right, yeah. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and so with that, I try to do events on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to raise awareness for students. We kicked off the month with a clothesline project in Java City, and with that, there were t-shirts hanging that were made by actual survivors from the city of Sioux Falls. The Compass Center donated them for us to borrow and use and display. So those were hanging throughout Java City Stage for a week, and then following that, we had Denim Day, which is an outcry to an Italian Supreme Court case that was overturned because the judge said that it is a known fact that the victim could not, or the perpetrator could not remove the victim's denim if they were struggling with all their might and the victim needed to help. So that was celebrated, and then we just ended and wrapped up the month last night with the Nick Rollis Band here on campus. Rock your socks off to stop the violence with the Nick Rollis Band. So that was a great event.
That's really good. So as a student, what are some things I need to be aware of, or some safety concerns that would help me to be safe, you know, being around campus and the college lifestyle?
Yeah, well, we like to say that USF is a very safe place. The city of Sioux Falls is a safe place, but like any other college campus, we are not immune from these things happening on our campus. We know that in reality, 1 in 6 women in their lifetime and 1 in 33 men will be victims of sexual assault. So I think just being aware of your surroundings, I don't think anyone can ever be too street smart and too aware. I think oftentimes we have this stigmatism or kind of preconceived notion that the person who's going to be the perpetrator is what we see in the movies, the person jumping out of the bushes in a dark alley. But more often than not, almost 70 to 90% of the time on a college campus, the perpetrator is actually someone known to the victim, whether it be a current or former partner, an acquaintance, a classmate, a coworker. So people that we know, not the people that we don't know. So it's sometimes even being aware of those surroundings when we think that we could let our guard down, but actually just kind of always being on our toes. So,
are there any other tips as far as, you know, if I'm walking to my vehicle at night, or what are some things that, you know, the school recommends that a student would do, or if they're walking on campus, what should they do at night if I don't feel safe?
Well, one great service we offer here on campus is the U Safety Walk, and with that you can call Campus Safety 321-6400 at any time of the day and get a guided escort to your vehicle or across campus. Someone will come just to make sure that you're okay getting to where you need to go. They can either give you a ride or they'll walk with you, whatever you're more comfortable with, or if you're parked far away or can't find a parking spot on campus, that's always an option as well, just to let them know. Also checking in with people. It's okay to say, you know, I'm leaving the library, calling your roommate saying I should be back to the room in 3 minutes. If I'm not, you know, start looking for me. I know oftentimes we get wrapped up in walking across campus with our iPods in, or maybe talking on our phone, which it's okay to be talking to someone, but you also need to be aware of your surroundings. The most vulnerable targets are the people that have their iPods in and are just kind of zoned and getting to where they need to go. So I think just making sure you know what's going on around you, and if you're not feeling safe, make sure that you call someone and check in with them. So.
Where are you located at in the school?
My office is located in the Academic Success Center, which is near the Java City Fireplace, and I am in the office every day. There's also an on-call number, 321-0652, which is kind of a 24-hour hotline if students ever feel that they need assistance from the youth safety program. Either I myself can help them, or if they don't feel comfortable coming on campus for services, if they go to the website, www.usiouxfalls.edu, there's a tab on there that links them to all different resources within the community of Sioux Falls. So that is also an option. If they come to me, it's confidential counseling services that they will be offered, but otherwise they are also very welcome to just go directly to the services within the community as well. So.
Well, thank you, Kristen, for joining us this morning. That information is very helpful to college students. Next up is Brett Geese with sports.
And now it's time for sports with College Week sports reporter Brett Geese.
Well, Brett, it looks like some South Dakotans were taken in the recent NFL draft.
Yes, and while only one was technically drafted, 4 more have made a team. Every boy at a young age wants to play some sort of professional sport, but only a few actually get that chance. Last Saturday, Danny Batten of South Dakota State got his chance when the Buffalo Bills drafted him in the 2010 NFL Draft. Batten is a 6'3", 250-pound defensive end and is projected to move to linebacker for the Bills. Last season, for the Jackrabbits, Batten was 3rd in the Buck Buchanan Award voting, given to the top defender in FCS. He finished with 85 tackles, 17 for a loss, and 9 sacks, also giving him All-American status. He was not the only football player from South Dakota to get his chance to play in the NFL. USD quarterback Noah Shepard received a free agent deal to play quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Shepard is the Coyotes' all-time leader in passing touchdowns, passing yards, and total offense. Other South Dakotans to sign with an NFL team this year are SDSU offensive lineman Casey Bender, who went to the Cleveland Browns, and also lineman Casey Nips signed to the Arizona Cardinals. And USD defensive tackle Ko Kwai was picked up by the Jacksonville Jaguars. In other sports news, USF men's and women's tennis teams will take the court this afternoon, both looking to finish their regular seasons at top of the GPAC standings. The women's team won all 7 matches they played in last week and have won their last 8 competitions overall. In the 6 GPAC matches, the women's Cougars have won by a combined score of 51-3. USF is set to host Nebraska Wesleyan today at 1 p.m. in a battle of unbeatens. The men's Cougars are looking to finish their regular season on a high note after proving to 5-1 in the GPAC last week. USF is currently ranked second in the GPAC behind Hastings College and will have a chance to improve its standings on Saturday against Nebraska Wesleyan. First serve is at 1 p.m. at Harmon Park in Sioux Falls. And that wraps up sports.
Very nice. Thank you, Brett.
Here are music critics Brandon Sandoval and Ian Bloomer with a special edition of Music Moment.
Hello everyone, welcome to Music Moment. Today we are reviewing the debut album of a local rock blues group, the Sewer Rats, with their first album, Save Yourself.
The Sewer Rats are like you said, a local band, and they're 2 brothers, Mike and Dan Nissen. They're from here in Sioux Falls originally, and they have kind of, like you said, a rock blues feel. They play 24 instruments between the 2 of them, so everything you hear on the album, from vocals to the piano to the guitar, is them, except for drums on 2 of the tracks. But yeah, so what did you think of it, Ian?
Overall, there were a few songs that I really liked, a few songs not so much. I think it was the distinct voice that the lead singer had. I think that sometimes when he tried to go too high, I didn't think it didn't work. Sometimes when he tried to go low, it didn't work. But when he stayed in that middle zone, that was more of the blues songs, and those ones worked for me, and I enjoyed those ones. So overall, I'd say probably I liked half the songs, didn't like half the songs, so I think I'll go with the 2.5 out of 5.
All right. Much like you, I did enjoy the blues songs better than the rock ones, just because that his voice is a little haggard. But I'd probably have to say my favorite songs are the first track, and then 3, 4, and 5. And then what's nice about 5 is that the other brother sings. You hear a little different side of it all, and he has more of a, like that sonorous sound. It's not as haggard, yeah. And so from a choir perspective and from a vocal perspective, I really did like that, just to change it up a bit. But overall, I'd have to probably say it's about 3.5, maybe 4 stars. We'll give it a 4.
Depending on the day.
Yeah, I mean, just because I really like it. It feels like the lyrics really speak to you sometimes. Depending on your mood, the lyrics are really powerful. And so it's good stuff.
If you're interested in listening to the album or any other songs they have, you can check them out online. They have a MySpace, a Facebook, and a Gmail account. You can pick up a copy of Save Yourself at any Sioux Falls Last Stop CD shop.
Back to you in the studio.
And that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. I'm Lexi Vogelaar.
And I'm Ronald Hawkins. It's been an honor to serve you, Sioux Falls. Have a great day.